welcome. I'm so glad that you are able to join us. I just want to say good afternoon. My name is Elena Cela, and I'm an advanced psychology extern here at Wesleyan Counseling and Psychological Services, or CAPS for short. And today what we're going to be talking about is stress management and the importance of self-care. And especially with everything that's going on in our world today, I think that this is a very important topic to talk about. And I feel that especially as a student or students, sometimes we tend to forget to take care of ourselves. And when we're dealing with so many different things, we often let that stress get to us. So today, what we're going to kind of look through is the oxygen mask. And I'll explain why that's an important reference, what stress is, taking care of yourself, and a review of CAP services. So the reason the oxygen mask is really important is because if you've ever been on the plane, so just kind of picture it with me, they're often telling you, the exits are on these sides, and if air pressure does fall, your masks will drop. Make sure that you put on your mask first before helping another person. And oftentimes, as students, as individuals, we tend to help out others before really attending to our needs. Sometimes that can leave us very drained. It can make us very tired, feeling overwhelmed and stressed. And we'll talk more about that as we go through this presentation. But as we move forward, I want you to keep the oxygen mask in your mind as you start to better understand how stress can impact us. So what is stress? I think we all hear about it. We all talk about it. We all say that we're stressed. And stress is really any situation that's real or imagined that threatens our emotional balance. And there's so many things that we are all stressed about currently. For a lot of us students, including myself, school is definitely a big stressor with all the academic pressures of getting things done, meeting deadlines. The current pandemic is also a stressor in our environment right now. The upcoming elections, current news, our relationships, whether it be our romantic relationships, our friendships, our family relationships. And of course, there's many, many other things that stress us throughout our day and throughout, the situations that we go through. So one of the main responses, or some of the main responses, of stress are the flight, fight, or freeze response. So think about it. When you're in a dangerous situation, or when, we're often told that we will either fight or flight, oftentimes people forget to mention that we can freeze in those moments as well. What this is a physiological response to stressors. It's a way that our body enables our human energy to, move rapidly so that we can survive. For short term, it could be very adaptive. For long term, it can have negative effects on our body. Meaning that, if we're thinking about an overload of work, if we're thinking about overload of responsibilities that we have to attend to, maybe helping our friends through a breakup, or, needing to be there for our family members, sometimes, we might get ready to fight and continuously move forward. We might kind of flee the situation, maybe find distractions, or we might freeze and not do anything in those moments. So kind of keep in mind that these are all very natural responses to being really stressed or having a lot of things on your plate. And kind of understanding that, if this is a response for a short period of time of stress, it can be very adaptive. It can help you move through that stress and kind of make sure that you get to the other end. However, if it's a long-term thing, sometimes this is when we need to make sure that we're talking about our stressors, utilizing our support systems, and making sure that, we're aware of ourselves and reflecting on our needs and wants during those times. Because overall, stress causes a lot of different things to our bodies. If we're looking just at the physical aspects, it causes muscle tensions, headaches, stomach problems, sleep difficulties, appetite changes, rapid breathing, fast heartbeat. Whereas if we're thinking about the emotional cognitive changes that come from stress, it's, feeling overwhelmed, tense. I'm sure that when a lot of people are stressed, we tense up, and it's really, really hard to move away from that. Sometimes we don't even realize that our shoulders are to our ears, and it's really hard to bring them down. It's really easy to become irritable. There can be a lot of crying. Depression is very common if you're feeling extremely stressed, worry, poor concentration, forgetfulness, procrastination, kind of really having a negative outlook on situations. These are all just things that come from stress. So when we're putting a lot on our plate, we're also causing our bodies and minds to go through a lot of different processes and different cycles until we really move through the stress that we're going through. Now, an important aspect to really outline is the consequences of prolonged stress. Sometimes we think that, we're stressed, it's fine, we'll move forward, we'll keep working. However, if we continue to stay in very stressful situations, that can cause, allergies, weight gain, cardiovascular disease, headaches, IBS, asthma, insomnia, depression, anxiety. These are all outcomes of stress. And I really like the zebra because he's kind of losing his stripes because he's so stressed. And I think that sometimes if you think about yourself, hair loss can also come with being really stressed. Just acne can also come with being really stressed. There's a lot of consequences that happen to our bodies when we put ourselves in such high volume situations that we're unable to get out of. And now, even though we're in school and we have a lot of different obligations and responsibilities that are on our plate, we often forget that, we have some control over these things. That's where self-care comes into play. Self-care means looking after yourself in a healthy way, recharging your batteries. If you think about your phone, if your phone is at 10%, you are more likely to use it less than actually use it more because you want to save that battery for as long as you can. So maybe you can go on Instagram and you can go on TikTok and watch some of these videos to help kind of distract you from your work. But once your phone dies, you really can't use it. If you think of yourself as a battery to your phone, you're not functioning that great if you're only at 10% or even 15%. So oftentimes when you're stretching yourself so thin to attend to all these different responsibilities, your battery gets less and less and less. And then if you're staying up late at night to finish your homework and not getting enough sleep, your battery continues, to not be fully charged, because if you're going to sleep late, that means you're probably waking up early to kind of continue going through your routines and attending to all your responsibilities. So maybe your battery only gets charged, let's say 50% to go through the day. And the other day, maybe it's only 40%. How long will that actually run for you so that until you can't keep going anymore? And then you're kind of like super tired and you're kind of in either a flight, fight, or freeze mode. People all respond to stress in different ways. Some are healthy and some are not healthy. And oftentimes a little bit of stress can be a good thing because it gets us motivated, it keeps us kind of moving and makes us attend to all the things that we do need to attend to. However, when we're too overwhelmed, that's when the problem starts. I mean, you have the right and responsibility to take care of your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. And I really enjoy that quote because sometimes we forget that, we do have that right and we do have that responsibility to attend to ourselves just as we attend to everything else around us. Some examples of self-care are taking care of your basic needs, which is healthy eating, getting enough sleep, stress management, as we're continuously talking about right now, and we'll go into a little bit more, is relaxation, taking breaks, making sure you're managing your time. Making time for fulfilling activities is very important. Your hobbies, your interests, doing things that you love, and then treating yourself. Sometimes we forget that, hey, we deserve to treat ourselves too. So maybe going out to eat, buying something special, maybe that thing that's been sitting in your Amazon cart for the last month, and kind of really treating yourself to that after you've, worked really hard throughout the last few weeks. Now, kind of going back to our oxygen tank, as I told you to kind of keep thinking about this, is that your oxygen tank is the things that you do for yourself. When you're putting yourself first, you're recharging that battery, you're making sure that you're able to breathe before attending to everything around you. Some ways to make sure that your oxygen mask is perfectly fit for you is kind of figuring out what is the things that you really need and want that can help you be where you want to be so that you can attend to all of these. For some people, it's exercise, ensuring that their social support is around them. Some people, it's really healthy eating, getting some sleep, rewarding yourself. Other aspects are knowing your limits, your cognitive skills that you're using through whatever you're going through, relaxation skills. We'll talk a little bit more about this limiting time screen time as we go in further to the presentation, and always personal counseling. So exercise. Now, oftentimes when people think of exercise, I think of the gym, I have to go do this. And oftentimes that can be like just such a hard picture to put in your mind. But exercise can be just going for a walk. It could be dancing in your room. It could be literally just, stretching and doing some yoga. But it really has its benefits. People who exercise 3 to 5 times a week for 30 minutes tend to live longer and healthier lives than those who don't. It releases endorphins that ease anxiety. Some studies suggest that exercise works as well as anxiety medication, and it lasts longer. Regular exercisers are 25% less to develop an anxiety disorder. And although those are great facts to have and to know, sometimes if you can't even do 30 minutes, finding 10 minutes in your day to really just stretch and kind of move around. I know that currently we're all sitting a lot more and sitting in front of our screens a lot more. So maybe in that middle of time when you're scrolling through Instagram or kind of being addicted to your follow page on TikTok, just kind of like putting your phone down and stretching for a few minutes just to give yourself and your body some movement. Also, exercise does improve night's sleep. It helps your immune system, and it keeps your blood and energy flowing, which increases your circulation and function. So part of taking care of yourself is ensuring that all parts of your body are working as they need to. So even just a few stretches, even maybe a walk outside before it gets cold. I don't like the cold, so if you do like the cold, go enjoy the cold. For me, I'd rather stay inside and maybe do some stretches. I'm not gonna lie. Now, the other aspect is social support. Just like my minion friends here, it's always nice to have your friends around and kind of having a good time and enjoying time together. And especially when you're stressed, it's so important to talk to those around you. When we talk, it alleviates some of that stress. Remember that when you have a network of people, they're there to help and support you. Just like you're there for your friends, your friends will be there for you. I always kind of like to share this idea is everything that you're doing for your friends is something that they're willing to do for you, because that's how friendship works. So just kind of keeping that in mind, that you're helping and supporting your friends, they're there to help and support you too. So make sure that you're utilizing your social support systems, including your friends and family, your professors, your deans, people around you, especially here on campus, CAPS. Make sure that you're utilizing your support. In some ways, I know that right now it could be a little bit more difficult, but join clubs. I know that there's a lot of clubs still happening and a lot of those meetings still happening, even if they are through Zoom. Building friendships is a fun, new, exciting experiment every time. But it is important to always reach out and talk things through. Healthy eating is another way that we take care of our body. It is important to eat 3 meals a day, and that includes breakfast, but it's also important to listen to your body. So if you are craving chocolate or ice cream and you need that because you've had a really rough day, that's great. You're listening to your body. Your body is telling you, hey, I would really like some of this right now. So, it's nice to just kind of listen to what your body needs, but ensuring that you're providing fuel for your body so that your body can operate and really attend to all these things and activities that you're doing. And you're moving around a lot. Even though you're sitting, your brain's moving around a lot and kind of processing everything that's in front of that screen. So food is your fuel, and just like a car needs gas to go places, your body needs food to do things. So ensuring that you're having those 3 meals a day, giving yourself, listening to your body and what your body needs is really important. Now, we're going to hone in a little bit on sleep. Because sleep is really important. Considering that college students get less sleep than any other group in the United States, I think that it's a really important topic to talk about. And I think that oftentimes we will work ourselves till late nights, maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 in the morning, or stay up hanging with our friends, and oftentimes put sleep to the side because, we'll catch up on the weekend. But most people are moderately sleep deprived. moderately to severely sleep deprived, excuse me. And I'm just gonna have you look at some of these things and kind of judge for yourself if you're sleep deprived. If you're sleeping right now, you're probably super sleep deprived, and a nap might do you some good. Hitting the snooze button multiple times, sleeping extra hours on the weekend, potentially falling asleep on class, whether it be in person or Zoom, snoozing at the wheel on long drives, falling asleep instantly at night. For a rested person, it usually takes 15 to 20 minutes to fall asleep. So as you're looking through this list, and I know that there's more aspects to, identify if you're feeling sleep deprived, but as you're looking through this, kind of hitting for yourself, like, how's it going for me? Am I sleep deprived? Am I ensuring that I get enough sleep for my body? Oftentimes we need 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Our body need rest, and especially now, since our eyes are continuously tired in front of a screen, is really important for us to ensure that we're giving our mind a break from all the activity that's going on. So some ways to ensure that you can get enough sleep for you and for your body is building your sleep routine. I know that most of the time we have a morning routine. We get up, we go to the bathroom, we wash our face, we brush our teeth, we brush our hair, and then we're off to get dressed. So that's most of the time our morning routine. But sometimes we forget that we need sleep routines just as much as we need morning routines. So some things to really keep in mind is limit your TV, computer, texting, especially now. Blue light has been shown to impact our sleeping. And we're on blue light and literally screens all the time right now. So making sure to kind of putting those away, maybe 15 to 20 minutes, potentially an hour if you can, before you go to bed. A hot shower, worry time, maybe like writing lists to empty out your head. I know that, for some people, going to bed can really get their minds, racing and running and thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow. Worry time can be where you can write down lists of what you're going to do tomorrow, or lists of things that are going on in your head, and just jot down the thoughts so that you can attend to them the next day. Meditation, relaxation, soft music, preferably classical, can be very helpful to kind of soothe and get you to a nice calm state so that you can potentially go to bed. Reading as a bedtime ritual, and kind of really putting schoolwork to the side. No school-related reading, like just kind of putting that away and doing something and reading something that's really enjoyable. And I know most of us might have books on our phones, which kind of moves away from like taking time away from screens. So maybe finding a physical book that you could read at bed, maybe looking at the library, ordering one on Amazon, and then be aware of your light. Ensure that you're in a dark place, because any type of light can really disrupt your sleep. So this aspect is really, really important. I think rewarding yourself is a must. You're working on so many goals. You're finishing so many assignments. You're really going. And sometimes you forget to really reward yourself. You're doing a lot of things. And oftentimes when we tend to feel stressed, it's because we don't stop. It's because we don't do something that we enjoy. And there's really kind of no light at the end of the tunnel. So making sure that you're finding time to reward yourself when you reach your goals, when you hand in that really long essay that you'd been dreading for many weeks and still did it last minute, and you really just finished it and were like, that was a solid paper, even though it was last minute. Watch your favorite TV show, maybe do a binge weekend, go on vacation. Although right now, since, this pandemic's going on, maybe avoid flying, maybe car rides, going to like a nice hike with it where there isn't a lot of people. Have your favorite food. Go shopping, if not in person, preferably online. But find ways that you can really reward yourself and be proud of the work that you're doing. And make sure, have fun. Sometimes we forget that we can have fun even if there is so much on our plate. I think that this is an important aspect that we sometimes forget, because we don't want to seem like we're overworked. We want to make sure that we're attending to everybody. We don't like to let people down. So knowing our limits is very important. You don't want to be that thin piece of string holding on for dear life before the rope breaks. because oftentimes that's when we're really irritable. That's when we can get angry. That's when a lot of these aspects of stress really impact us mentally and physically. So knowing your limits, just because the student next door can do 90 hours of straight work doesn't mean you can or you should. And if the person next to you is doing 90 hours of work, I would be a little bit concerned, but that's besides the point. And sometimes we tend to get in our own heads by telling ourselves, I should be able to get all of this done. I should do my homework faster. I should have to talk to my friends longer. I should. So we get into this process of shoulding ourselves with all these different aspects that tend to become unrealistic and tend to become very difficult for us to attain. If you think of like a growth mindset, when we tell ourselves we can't do something, we're putting ourselves in a box, so we are not able to really get out of that box. When we're shoulding ourselves, we're kind of putting ourselves in a very similar box. You know, instead of maybe saying should, maybe kind of changing your language than the way that you're talking to yourself and kind of just saying, no, I want to get all this done, but right now I need a break. Or I know I can do my homework faster, or I want to do my homework faster, but I'm okay with the speed that I'm going right now. I should, instead of saying I should have talked to my friends longer, I wanted to really spend more time with my friends. Maybe next time I can cut out a little bit more time so that I don't have to leave so early. Sometimes in just changing the way that we're talking to ourselves impacts our thinking. I mean, how did you feel as I changed those statements from should statements to I want statements, or these different ways of talking? What was that like for you just to hear that change? I think that our cognitive skills, according to stress theory, are really, really important when we're thinking about stressful situations. Our thoughts about situations and not the situation itself can determine how stressed we are or what our stress response is to this. I'm hoping that this isn't going to go to the next slide, but, oh, it came up, cool. So just kind of, let's go through this together. So our stressor, since we're in school, is the exam. We can think of this thought in two different ways. We can think, I didn't study enough, so that's going to cause us to stress out a lot. That's going to cause us to really freak out, overthink, kind of set some spiraling thoughts in our brain, and kind of make us feel like we're not going to do well on our test. Or we can think of it in a different way. All right, our stressor is the exam. I'm so prepared. That reduces our stress because the way that we talk to ourselves is oftentimes how we are reacting to whatever the stress is. When we're constantly saying, oh, I didn't do enough, oh, I should have done better, I need to work on this harder, that causes this level of stress to increase because now we're setting these limitations in our head and putting ourselves in these boxes, which cause us to kind of constrain ourselves. When we're talking to ourselves in I think maybe I need to study a little bit more and then I'll feel a little bit more prepared, or I want to do really well on the test, so I'm going to talk to my friends so we can create a study group to ensure we do well, or just even saying, I'm going to try the best I can on this exam. It reduces the stress that we're feeling and causes that stress response to not be at such a heightened level. So sometimes we think about our conversations with one another, but we never think about the conversations that we're having with ourselves. And in those moments, especially when we're stressed, it's an important time to really be kind to ourselves and really kind of show up to ourselves with a sense of kindness and knowing that you're doing a lot and that there is a lot on your plate and you're working on managing your relationships and school and kind of maneuvering in this pandemic right now and through all these different stressors that are coming through. So, and when we respond to ourselves with kindness and kind of this different cognitive skill of, I want to do this, I would like to do this, instead of I should be doing this, we give our brains the opportunity to kind of make that response less heightened. Now, relaxation is definitely an important aspect of self-care. Now, everybody's relaxation can be very, very different. And I know that for most of us, we will automatically think of like, oh, yoga, let's do yoga, let's do some meditation, that's relaxation. But everybody's relaxation is so different. Like one of my friends loves to watch TV. That is her relaxation. She will go home after a really long day. She'll put on her favorite show, and that is her relaxation. That is how she unwinds and cares for herself and kind of meets her needs and wants at that time. I have other friends who really love to go for a run because exercise is part of their relaxation. Some people really like sitting quietly. Some people really like reading a book. These are just some ideas of relaxation. And I know that there's so many more out there, and we all have our own different styles, but kind of just looking at this list, be mindful. The one thing I really want to highlight is be mindful of the time you are spending on your screens. I know it's really difficult to put it away, especially with our current situation. I know it's really difficult to turn it off, and sometimes even our relaxation is a screen because we're watching a movie, we're watching a show. I know there's like many great things to watch, but also we're also on our screens following the elections, following everything that's going on Instagram, following the news. And sometimes that in itself can be so stressful, and it can impact our own mental health and cause us to have an increase in stress. Sometimes it's important for us to not only spend some time away from the screens, but also spend some time away from social media and from reading the news to really give our brain that break that it needs, because we are on all the time. And there is so many ways that, we're going, that if we don't take this time to relax and take care of ourselves, it's harder to show up and be present with the things that we really want to be present for. The last one is counseling. Personal counseling is super important. I'm completely biased and think that everyone should be in counseling, but that's besides the point. Since we're talking about CAPS here on campus, we do have a lot of services for students to utilize. If you're experiencing any acute stress or need to speak to a clinician immediately, please call our on-call services. The number is right on the screen. If you would like to have continued services, you can come and work with a clinician here at CAPS. Right now, we are doing telehealth, so students are looking to establish services outside of Connecticut, can work on locating services through Wesleyan at thrivingcampus.com. So there are many different options, and we are here for anything that you need. So please don't hesitate to reach out in any of those forms. And also, these are our October drop-in spaces, so please don't hesitate to attend all of these different events. They're there for you. I know we talked a little bit about having some less screen time, but these are always fun to go to and kind of just be connected with others and have some fun. Thank you. Have a great day.